Well, good evening. It's about 10:30 and it's Tuesday night. Hope you had a wonderful day today. My day was great, absolutely great. I had the opportunity to blow bubbles, so that put me in my world. I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome my listener from Australia. Good day, mate. And my new listener from Germany. Guten Tag, was ist los? That's the extent of my German. But I wanted to talk to you tonight about something that I hear young people say all the time, and they've got this all so backwards. I told my daughter when she was, I guess, a preteen, that the day was going to come when she was going to feel the urge to tell me that she was grown. So I knew that day would come, so I started preparing her. Baby, one day you're gonna want to come to mommy and say, well, I'm grown, so I'm gonna stop you right now. Let me tell you what grown is. Grown is when you have your own address, you have your own job, you have your own bills, and you have your own money. That's what grown is. And you know something else? When you really grown, you don't have to tell nobody. That's just like being the boss. I used to work for this guy who was so insecure, maybe because he was short, I don't know. But he used to say, do you know who the boss is? Do you know who I am? Do you know how I am? I am the boss. Well, everybody working knows who the boss is. I don't care where you work. Everybody knows who the boss is. So I was wondering what kind of tripping this guy was doing if he felt the need to impress upon us that he was really the boss. And I mean, he'd get red in the face and, slobber would kind of get in the corner of his mouth. And that's just too much energy to spend on something that's really not that important. Because your check tells you the boss. And when I come inside to work in this workplace, your office says boss. So I know who the boss is, but I'm worried about you. I'm worried about you being so insecure that you feel like you have to throw your weight around or throw your position around. Look, we are all here by the grace of God, and there's nobody really better than anybody else because we all have things that we can and we cannot do. But to use your title to oppress someone is wrong. We're so past that time in our history, and our history is winding down, and pretty soon, 100 years or so, we don't know who's going to be here. So let's all take a look at ourselves and kind of lighten up and kind of take away some of those things that are not attractive to us, some of those things that raise our blood pressure, all of those stress-causing things. We need to let them go. I used to tell you about I have a lot of room in my head and not enough things to do. Well, I have a lot of room in my head now not because I lost knowledge, but because I got rid of all of the things that were negative in my life. I got rid of the negative people. I got rid of the negative situations. I got away from the negative places. And I just started removing those things from my heart and from my mind, and I asked God to take those things away because they weren't healthy for me. My blood sugar was up, my blood pressure was up, I had headaches all the time, and it was all because of the stress. So I admonish you to let go of whatever is in your life that's not making you happy. You can't make someone happy. If a person is dependent on you to make them happy, then the happiness is never going to come because the happiness has to begin with you. You have to know what happiness is, and when someone is trying to do their best to accommodate you, make you feel good, trust that. But we always seem to want more. We want more. I want more. This person is breaking their back to make you happy, and you still want more. You want more. Well, you know what happens? After a while, a person gets tired of bending their back, so they say, well, I tell you what, best wishes to you. I'm out of here. And then there you are lost without the thing that you thought you really needed most of all. But you can't have it because your attitude turned it away. I really think that it's important that all of us develop an attitude of gratitude, because we're here on borrowed time, and we're here because God has been graceful and merciful to us to allow us another day. And because He's given us another day, we ought to take that opportunity to be the best us we can be. We don't need to tear down anybody. We don't need to talk about anybody. What's wrong with just when you pass a stranger, say good morning or good afternoon or how you doing? You don't know what a person needs. Maybe no one has spoken to that person in a long time, and maybe your just one hello means a lot. I'll give you this last example before I go. And one of the things that old people experience is what's called tactile deprivation. And what does that mean? It means that they are not being touched. They don't get hugged. They don't shake hands. Because when you get to a point where you kind of secluded, you don't have as many people to visit you. You don't have any people to come in contact with. As a result, you don't get as many hugs. It's like when you were going to church every Sunday, excuse me, before the pandemic, you count on getting those hugs and those handshakes and those warm greetings from people. Well, as you get older and you're not able to do these things and get out the way you used to, you are being touched less. And I'm not talking about touching in a sexual mean. I'm just talking about a handshake, a hand on the shoulder, a pat on the hand to let you know I understand. You wouldn't believe how important that is to a lot of older people, especially if they don't have family. So, the boils down to this. You're not grown until you got your own stuff. If you're the boss, you don't have to tell nobody. And the last thing is, let's work on trying to be the best we can be. Let's not tear down anybody. Let's try to raise them up, build them up so that we can have a better generation to follow us. Yeah, I said it.